There's a version of you that doesn't question their path, a version that moves through uncertainty with quiet knowing, a version whose presence shifts rooms not by noise but by energy. And here's what most people don't realize. That version isn't waiting in the distance. They're not somewhere far away in another lifetime. They're here, right now, just beyond your current perception. They exist in your potential, and every decision you make pulls them closer. Every choice to trust instead of doubt, every moment you choose alignment over fear, every small act of faith is collapsing the distance between who you think you are and who you really are. You've never been lost. You've only been rearranging, learning the language of energy, of timing, of readiness. You've been tuning your frequency to match what you've been asking for. And the reason it's felt confusing at times isn't because you were off track. It's because growth doesn't always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like standing still, while everything inside you reorganizes. Sometimes it feels like silence before a breakthrough. Sometimes it feels like losing your grip on what you thought you wanted, so that you can open your hands to something better aligned. You've been taught to measure your life in straight lines. You've been told that progress looks like constant forward motion. But the truth is, real transformation happens in waves. It happens in spirals. It happens in moments that seem insignificant until you look back and realize they changed everything. There's a rhythm to your becoming that your logical mind can't track. A rhythm that operates in quantum time, not calendar time. It's the time of alignment, not measurement. And that time has been guiding you all along. Maybe you've looked around and thought, I should be further ahead by now. I should have achieved more. I should have figured this out already. But that voice isn't truth. That's conditioning. That's comparison. That's the echo of other people's timelines trying to measure your worth. Your timing is unique. Your lessons are customized. Your journey has always been between you and the intelligence that built your path from the inside out. There's no such thing as behind when you're moving according to your own evolution. Think about it. Every challenge you've faced, every delay, every closed door, they weren't punishments. They were calibrations. The universe wasn't denying you. It was preparing you. You weren't being blocked. You were being built. Every setback was constructing capacity. Every no was strengthening your alignment with your yes. Every ending was freeing space for a beginning that matched your higher frequency. And while you were busy judging your progress, your energy was quietly reconfiguring itself to hold what's next. You can't rush energetic readiness. You can't force timing that's divine by design, because the quantum field doesn't respond to your impatience. It responds to your coherence. It responds to your signal. And when your signal says, I'm ready, not from desperation, but from alignment, everything begins to rearrange itself around you. Opportunities that were invisible become visible. People who were once strangers suddenly appear as keys to your next level. Paths that felt closed begin to open, not because luck changed, but because your energy did. You've been taught to chase outcomes, but outcomes are just reflections. They're mirrors showing you who you've become vibrationally. The real work is happening beneath the surface, in the thoughts you repeat, in the stories you tell yourself about what's possible, in the way you speak to yourself when no one is watching. That's where manifestation begins. That's where alignment forms. You're not trying to attract something new. You're remembering how to tune yourself to what's already available in the field. It's not outside you. It's waiting for you to match it. And matching it doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it's not. It means choosing trust in the middle of uncertainty. It means holding faith when logic says you shouldn't. It means deciding that your worth isn't conditional on results. It's recognizing that your energy is the cause and your experience is the effect. Change your energy, and your experience follows. It can't not. That's not philosophy. That's physics. That's the law of resonance at work. The field isn't testing you. It's mirroring you. You might feel like you've been waiting forever. Waiting for things to click. Waiting for the sign, the shift, the validation that says it's your turn. But what if it's already your turn, and the waiting has only been a story? What if everything you've labeled as delay has been the universe giving you space to calibrate, to strengthen, to expand your capacity for what's coming next? Because here's the truth. If you received everything you wanted before you were ready to sustain it, it wouldn't stay. Not because you're unworthy, but because your nervous system can't hold what your consciousness hasn't stabilized yet. So the waiting becomes mercy. The delay becomes protection. You've probably had moments where something almost worked out but slipped away. A relationship, a job, a chance that felt like your breakthrough. You told yourself you missed it. You failed. You fell behind. But maybe that wasn't loss. Maybe that was rerouting. Maybe what you called rejection was redirection. The quantum field doesn't deal in mistakes. It deals in mirrors and matches. And if something left, it wasn't in resonance. You didn't lose alignment. You gained clarity. You're learning to stop chasing alignment and start being it. You're learning that the version of you who feels confident, grounded, magnetic already exists. You don't create them through struggle. You remember them through surrender, through release, through trusting the unseen over the visible. Because manifestation isn't about forcing energy to move faster. It's about allowing what's already in motion to meet you. It's about becoming receptive instead of resistant. So take a breath right now. Notice that you're still here. Notice that despite everything you've been through, something inside you refuses to quit. That's your signal. That's your guidance. That's the frequency of becoming. You've been walking through what looks like chaos, but what's actually order in disguise. You've been rearranging the pieces of yourself into a higher pattern, and every challenge has been part of that equation. You're not trying to find your way back. You're remembering that you were never off path to begin with. You've been living inside an ongoing initiation. Every struggle refining your focus. Every disappointment sharpening your discernment. Every ending teaching you to recognize beginnings. That's personal growth. That's quantum manifestation. It's not about controlling outcomes. It's about aligning your frequency with the reality you desire so completely that it becomes inevitable. Not because you chased it, but because you became the version of you who naturally attracts it. And here's the secret that changes everything. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Your outer reality always catches up to your inner frequency. So if you want peace, become peace. If you want abundance, embody abundance. If you want love, radiate love. The field doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to vibrations. Every time you choose trust, you're broadcasting a signal of alignment. Every time you choose gratitude, you're expanding your magnetic range. Every time you choose presence, you're anchoring your future into now. You were never lost. You were calibrating. You were building coherence. You were becoming the match for everything you've ever asked for. And even when it looked like nothing was happening, everything was happening. Beneath the surface, inside the silence, within the unseen. Your evolution was underway the entire time. You've been walking yourself home to a version of you that never left. And now the only thing left to do is remember. You are the signal. The universe is responding. Always has been. Always will be. There comes a point in your evolution when you stop asking for proof and start becoming the proof. When you no longer need signs because you realize you are one. Every experience, every emotion, every moment of contrast is showing you where your energy stands. And the moment you stop labeling those moments as good or bad, you begin to move with the current of creation instead of against it. That's the shift from force to flow, from controlling to allowing, from hoping life will meet you halfway to realizing it already has. You are not learning to create your reality. You're remembering that you always have been. You were never powerless. You were unaware of your power. The energy that forms galaxies is the same energy that forms your thoughts. It doesn't choose who it listens to. It responds to coherence. It mirrors vibration. And every time you think a thought and feel it as true, you imprint it into the field. You're sculpting reality in ways the physical eye can't yet see. So no, you're not waiting for alignment. You're constantly broadcasting it. The question is, are you aware of the signal you're sending? Awareness is the real technology of manifestation. When you observe your thoughts without judging them, you begin to reclaim your power. You stop reacting to old patterns and start rewriting them. You start realizing that energy doesn't discriminate. It only amplifies what's consistent. And consistency of vibration comes from clarity of identity. The more you know who you are, the less you need to chase what you want. Because when you're anchored in identity, your desires are not wishes and they're reflections. Think of identity like frequency. The version of you that already has peace, abundance, connection, that version vibrates at a certain tone. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that tone, reality has no choice but to match it. That's why repetition matters. That's why self-talk matters. Every time you affirm who you truly are instead of who fear says you are, you're shifting the coordinates of your experience, and you don't need to force it. You just need to keep returning to alignment again and again until it becomes your natural state. The universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to embodiment. You can say all the right affirmations, visualize all the right outcomes, but if your nervous system still believes in lack, the signal remains fragmented. The work is not in saying you're abundant. It's in feeling safe enough to be. It's in letting your body know that it's okay to relax into receiving. Because abundance is not achieved through effort. It's received through permission. There's a subtle shift that happens when you stop asking how and start trusting why. When you realize that the reason you desire something isn't random, it's guidance. Desire is direction. It's your higher self speaking in the language of energy, pointing you toward your next expansion. So instead of asking, how will this happen? Ask, who do I need to be for this to feel natural? Because manifestation isn't about getting. It's about becoming. Everything you've been through has been teaching you energetic stability. The disappointments taught you detachment. The delays taught you patience. The endings taught you surrender. And each of those states, detachment, patience, surrender, is a higher frequency of creation. They're not signs of giving up. They're signs of mastery. Because true power isn't control. It's calm. It's knowing that the universe rearranges itself for the person who knows who they are. And sometimes knowing who you are means unlearning who you were told to be. The world will try to convince you that safety lives in predictability, that worth lies in productivity, that love is earned through effort. But those are illusions built from survival energy. You're no longer surviving. You're evolving. You don't have to earn alignment. You simply allow it by releasing what contradicts it. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, you're upgrading your frequency. Every time you say no to something that doesn't resonate, you're making space for something that does. You've spent so long trying to control timing, trying to make things happen faster. But the truth is, nothing divine can be rushed. Expansion has its own tempo. It knows when to unfold. And when you align with that rhythm, peace replaces pressure. You stop measuring progress through outcomes and start sensing it through coherence. You start realizing that the quiet days, the in-between phases, the times when nothing seems to be moving, those are the most potent. Because that's when energy is reconfiguring itself beneath visibility. If you could see what's rearranging right now in response to your frequency, you'd never doubt again. You'd move with more softness. You'd trust the pauses as much as the progress. You'd understand that the field is never still. It's listening. It's matching. It's translating your vibration into form. And form takes time to crystallize. The more you relax, the faster it solidifies. Because ease is the fastest frequency. This is where personal growth and quantum manifestation meet. Growth expands your capacity to hold more energy. Manifestation fills that capacity. You can't sustain more abundance if your self-worth hasn't expanded to match it. You can't hold more love if your heart is still closed from the past. The universe doesn't withhold. It waits for energetic readiness. And readiness isn't about perfection. It's about permission. It's about saying, I am willing to receive what matches who I've become. So stop treating your desires like strangers you need to chase. They're parts of you trying to return home. They're echoes of your highest timeline calling you forward. And every time you act from love instead of fear, you're walking toward them, not in distance but in vibration. The field doesn't measure miles. It measures resonance. You've probably noticed that when you finally stop obsessing over something, it tends to show up. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. When you release resistance, energy flows. When you stop gripping, you open the channel. When you let go, you signal trust. And trust is magnetic. That's the quantum paradox. The less you need it, the faster it arrives. Because needing is lack. Allowing is abundance. But allowing doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything from a place of alignment. It means following the intuitive impulse instead of the fearful impulse. It means choosing inspired action over anxious action. The universe doesn't respond to effort. It responds to energy behind effort. So when you act as the version of you who already has it. Speak from that version. Move from that version. Make decisions from that version. Because reality rearranges for identity faster than it does for intention. And maybe that's what this whole season of your life has been teaching you. How to remember your power not through certainty, but through surrender. You've learned to stand in uncertainty without collapsing. You've learned to trust timing without proof. You've learned that peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of connection to self. That's mastery. That's evolution. That's becoming. So let this be your reminder, nothing has gone wrong. Nothing has been wasted. You didn't miss your moment. You became it. Every detour brought data. Every pause built precision. Every heartbreak opened capacity. You were never being tested. You were being tuned, and now you're vibrating closer than ever to the life that matches who you truly are. You are not chasing alignment anymore. You are living it. You are not asking for signs anymore. You are radiating them. You are the intersection where energy meets embodiment, where intention becomes matter, where the unseen becomes seen. You are not lost. You are in motion. You are not waiting for the miracle. You are the miracle remembering itself. There's a quiet kind of arrival that happens when you stop waiting for your life to begin. When you stop waiting for the next achievement, the next sign, the next chapter to feel whole. It happens the moment you realize you were never meant to find yourself in the future. You were meant to return to yourself now. The version of you that you've been chasing has always lived inside this moment, breathing beneath the noise, waiting for you to slow down enough to hear them. That's what presence really is. Not stillness without motion, but awareness within it. It's remembering that you are the moment you've been waiting for. You've done enough searching. You've done enough fixing. You've done enough proving. There comes a point when growth stops looking like constant striving and starts looking like peaceful acceptance. You start realizing that you don't need to become more to be worthy of more. You just need to stop arguing with who you already are. Alignment isn't about becoming perfect. It's about releasing resistance to your own truth. When you stop trying to earn worthiness, everything you've been chasing begins to flow toward you, because it no longer needs to fight through your doubt to reach you. You've learned to trust yourself through uncertainty. You've learned that faith is not believing everything will go your way, but believing that everything will serve your way. That even detours have direction. That even endings carry momentum. And now you stand at a place where fear no longer feels like a wall. It feels like a signal, a reminder that something new is asking to be felt. You no longer run from the unknown because you've realized it's not darkness, it's potential waiting for recognition. That's the essence of manifestation, turning potential into presence through awareness. Every time you align with peace instead of panic, you're expanding your capacity to receive. Every time you stay grounded instead of reactive, you're signaling that you trust your power. The universe reads your stillness as confidence. The quantum field registers your calm as clarity. That's when synchronicity becomes your language. That's when the right people, the right moments, the right opportunities start orbiting your energy, because you're no longer sending mixed messages. You've tuned yourself to one steady frequency, authenticity, and that frequency is magnetic. It doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't perform, it radiates. You don't have to convince energy to respond to you. You just have to stop contradicting your own signal. The field always listens. It always rearranges itself in response to who you are being. So if you want to shift your reality, shift your state. If you want to experience more love, become the expression of love. If you want to experience more abundance, start noticing where abundance already exists, because awareness amplifies what it touches. What you honor expands. You are living proof of what alignment creates. Think of how many times you thought you were done, only to find new strength. How many times you thought something broke you, only to realize it was opening you. You've rewritten yourself over and over again, and each version has carried a piece of your evolution. You're not fragments anymore. You're integration. You're the harmony between who you were, who you are, and who you're becoming. And when those three finally align, the universe moves in harmony with you. There's a softness that follows that realization. You stop rushing. You stop defending. You stop trying to be understood by everyone, because you finally understand yourself. You begin to see that peace is not a destination, it's a decision made moment by moment. You choose it through perspective, through patience, through presence, through the quiet knowing that nothing real can be taken from you, and nothing aligned can miss you. When you live from that truth, everything else becomes effortless. This is what mastery feels like, and not control, but coherence. Not certainty, but trust. You start moving through life as energy, not ego. You start seeing challenges as invitations, not interruptions. You begin to understand that you are the creator of meaning, and meaning is what shapes matter. You stop needing life to prove your power, because your existence already does. You walk into each day knowing that alignment is your only job. Everything else is consequence, and yet even now you're still expanding. You're still evolving. The journey never truly ends because consciousness is infinite. But now it's different. Now you move from curiosity, not urgency, from inspiration, not fear, from peace, not pressure. You've learned that becoming isn't about reaching a final form. It's about continuously allowing your truth to take new shapes. You're not arriving somewhere outside yourself. You're arriving deeper within. The quantum field doesn't reward speed. It responds to presence. When you're fully here, time slows down, possibilities open. Life stops being a series of things to achieve and becomes a canvas of moments to experience. You realize that joy isn't the result of manifestation. It's the magnet that makes manifestation inevitable. You start creating from overflow instead of emptiness. You stop trying to attract what will complete you because you finally feel whole enough to create from wholeness. Look back for a moment, not to compare, but to witness. The person who started this journey is not the same one reading these words. You see differently now. You move differently now. You feel differently now. You've stepped into a timeline where peace feels natural, where faith feels logical, where alignment feels like home. That's the evidence of your evolution. Not that everything outside has changed, but that everything inside has. So if you take nothing else from this, take this. You were never late. You were never lost. Every step was right on time. Every delay was part of divine rhythm. Every ending was a sacred recalibration. You were never being punished for not knowing. You were being guided toward remembering your power, your worth, your ability to create reality through energy instead of effort. You've been aligning all along, and now it's simple. Live what you've learned. Speak from your higher frequency. Act as if it's already done, because it is. The field is already rearranging in your favor. The moment you stopped doubting, the timeline shifted. You're no longer waiting for alignment. You are the alignment. You're no longer asking for light. You are the light. You're no longer becoming. You are being. This is your arrival, quiet, certain, effortless. You were never lost, and you were always becoming. And now you finally remember who you've been all along. There's a turning point that arrives quietly. It doesn't come with fireworks or sudden clarity. It comes as calm. The kind of calm that doesn't mean everything outside you is perfect, but that everything inside you has stopped fighting what is. That's when you know you've shifted. When you stop needing certainty to feel safe. When you stop chasing validation to feel worthy. When you realize peace isn't the result of control. It's the side effect of alignment. That's the moment the quantum field starts mirroring your power instead of your pressure. Because the field doesn't respond to your words, it reads your energy. You can tell yourself you're ready all you want, but if your energy still says not yet, the universe listens to that frequency. Readiness isn't about confidence. It's about coherence. It's when your body, your mind, and your energy finally agree. It's when there's no contradiction left between what you say you want and what you're available to receive. That's when manifestation turns from effort to inevitability. This is why so many people feel stuck. They're trying to manifest with mixed signals. They say they want abundance but still operate from lack. They say they want love but guard their hearts like it's dangerous. They say they want peace but keep feeding chaos. But energy can't lie. The field doesn't judge you. It just mirrors you. So the work isn't to wish harder. It's to align deeper. It's to remove the energetic noise that contradicts what you say you believe. You don't have to fix yourself to align. You just have to stop identifying with the version of you that thinks you're broken. Healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering the version of you that existed before the world told you who to be. It's about peeling back everything that isn't truth. The real you has never been damaged. Only your perception has been distorted by fear, by conditioning, by comparison. When you start releasing those distortions, clarity rushes in. You stop chasing clarity and start embodying it. You begin to understand that nothing outside of you has ever truly held the power to define you. Situations can't lower your vibration unless you consent through reaction. People can't drain you unless you agree to see yourself through their eyes. Reality bends around your point of focus. So the question is never, why is this happening to me? It's at what frequency am I meeting this from? Because the same event can expand you or exhaust you. The difference is vibration. You've spent a long time learning how to protect your energy. Now you're learning how to project it, to let your presence become your protection, to walk into spaces knowing that you don't have to shrink or harden to stay safe. You can simply expand. You can stay soft and still be powerful. Because power isn't about dominance. It's about stability. It's about remaining centered no matter what the outside world reflects. That's the mastery of the new level. Unshakable calm. The old version of you needed external proof to believe. The new version believes first and proof follows. That's the essence of quantum manifestation, assuming the vibration of the outcome before it appears. It's not pretending. It's preparing. It's becoming the energetic match so fully that reality has no choice but to rearrange around it. And the funny thing is, when you reach that level of alignment, you stop caring about the outcome so much. You realize the outcome was never the reward. The alignment was. This is the shift from chasing to channeling, from doing to being, from controlling to allowing. You become less interested in forcing results and more interested in maintaining resonance. You realize that peace is not found at the end of achievement. It's found in presence. You begin to understand that the universe doesn't respond to deadlines. It responds to devotion. Devotion to the frequency of trust. Devotion to the energy of worthiness. Devotion to staying open even when logic tells you to close. Every time you choose openness, you're expanding your quantum range. You're signaling that you're ready to hold more. More love, more opportunity, more life, but openness requires vulnerability. And vulnerability feels risky until you realize it's the birthplace of creation. The more you allow yourself to feel, the more you allow energy to move. Stagnant emotion blocks flow. Suppressed feeling blocks manifestation. Energy must circulate. So when you let yourself cry, when you let yourself feel disappointment without judgment, you're clearing resistance. You're making room for renewal. You've probably noticed how peace feels unfamiliar at first. That's because chaos trained your nervous system to expect disruption. So when things finally start aligning, the mind tries to sabotage it. It doesn't recognize calm as safe yet. But that's temporary. The more you stay anchored in ease, the more your system recalibrates. Soon, peace becomes your new normal, and from that stability, everything accelerates. Because when your nervous system is calm, your signal is clear. You are learning that alignment is not a one-time event. It's a continuous practice of remembering. Every day you have the chance to return to coherence, to pause and ask, does this action match the frequency of who I'm becoming? If it does, move. If it doesn't, breathe. That's the real discipline, energetic honesty, the willingness to stop doing what contradicts what you claim to want, the courage to choose what resonates even when it's inconvenient. There's an elegance to living this way. Life begins to feel lighter. Synchronicities become normal. Time stretches and bends. You start realizing that manifestation isn't linear. It's quantum. You'll think of someone and they'll call. You'll release an old goal and a better one will arrive effortlessly. You'll notice how ease replaces effort, not because the world changed, but because your signal did. And then you understand, the universe was never testing you. It was always teaching you to trust your own frequency. So much of what you thought was struggle was actually training. You were being guided to refine your focus, to stabilize your emotions, to embody your truth regardless of conditions. That's why certain things took longer. Not because you weren't worthy, but because you were still anchoring the vibration. The universe will never give you something that requires you to abandon yourself to keep it. If it left, it wasn't aligned. If it stayed, it's meant to grow with you. And that brings you here, to this space of quiet certainty, where you finally stop running from endings because you trust beginnings, where you stop clinging to what's leaving because you trust what's arriving. You start living from the truth that everything in your life is a reflection of your energy in motion. And since energy is always evolving, you realize that change is not loss, it's continuity. You're not starting over, you're starting aligned. So breathe a little deeper. Let yourself feel how far you've come without comparing it to where you thought you'd be. Every shift, every lesson, every moment of stillness has served you. You've become softer but stronger, quieter but clearer. You no longer need to chase your becoming. You've entered it. And soon everything around you will begin to reflect that. Not because you forced it, but because you finally remembered that it was never missing. You were never lost. You were being refined. You were never behind. You were calibrating. You were never forgotten. You were being positioned. And now that you're aligned, the field can finally mirror back what's been yours all along. You don't have to reach for it. You just have to stay open. The energy you've been waiting for is already here. You're already in it. Becoming wasn't a journey after all. It was a remembrance.